Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you again. This time we're going to go over to Positive, and this article is about lawyers for a black FedEx driver demands attempted murder charges for white men who chased and shot at him. Okay, so yeah, that's a thing, still a thing in 2022. The article is by lexdirects, and it starts off by saying a white father and son duel who was arrested for chasing down and shooting at a innocent black man. And no, this is not the lynch mob that hunted Ahmaud Arbery. On January the 24th, Demontario Gibson was making deliveries for FedEx while he was nearly killed for simply working while black. CNN reports that Gibson is speaking out for victims of race attacks who weren't lucky enough to survive. I can definitely see the similarities. That's why I feel it's my responsibility to speak up because Ahmaud Arbery didn't survive to speak up for himself, the 24-year-old said. He young too. Hmm. Gibson had just finished dropping off a package on his delivery route in Brookhaven, Mississippi, when Brandon Case and his father, Gregory Case, allegedly cut him off with a pickup truck and hunted him down with a shotgun. The terrifying ordeal is eerily familiar. In a statement, it says, I proceeded to leave the driveway. As I was leaving the driveway, he started driving in the grass, trying to cut me off. My instincts kicked in. I swerved around him and I started hitting the gas, trying to get out of the neighborhood, Gibson told the Mississippi Free Press in an interview. It continues to say, I drove about 2 or 3 houses. There's another guy standing in the middle of the street, pointing a gun at my window and signaling me to stop with his hands, as well as mouthing the word stop. I shake my head no. I hide behind the steering wheel and I swerved around him as well. As I swerved around him, he starts firing shots into my vehicle. End of statement. Article continues by saying local police believe Gregory, age 58, was the truck driver that chased down and attempted to corner Gibson. The 34-year-old son, Brandon, is accused of confronting the delivery driver with a shotgun and firing into the truck repeatedly as he tried to escape. The terror didn't end when Gibson sped away from the gunman. He said the truck followed him for about 15 minutes, chasing him out of town to an interstate. Gibson claims neither the police nor FedEx took the near-fatal attack seriously when he first reported it. In fact, they both blamed him for making the would-be killers suspicious of him. Say what? Okay. In another statement, it says, I reached dispatch and let him know what was going on, and I only had a chance to get a little of the story out when he cut me off, and he was like, were you at the address? And he replied, yes. He was like, well, I just got a call of a suspicious person at this address. I was like, sir, I'm not a suspicious person. I work for FedEx. I was just doing my job, Gibson said. And that photo was unavailable. But the article continues to say, not only did the FedEx advise Gibson to return to the office instead of going to the police, but they also expected him to complete the rest of his deliveries for the day. When he reported the attempted lynching to the Brookhaven police the same day, a white officer asked what did he do to make him look suspicious. Police Chief him Ken, excuse me, Police Chief Kenny Collins, who is black, tried to empathize how unracist the town of Brookhaven was, which seemed odd. Another officer told Gibson took him back to the crime scene and put him to work searching for bullet fragments instead. What? Wait, wait a minute, hold up, push pause. So they took him back to the crime scene and made this boy look for bullet fragments when that's not his job. That's the police job. More importantly, that's forensics. And they wasn't called. Okay, let me continue. Although Gibson spoke to at least 3 officers the night of the attack, Brookhaven PD did not file a police report until he returned with his supervisor the next day. The father and son weren't arrested until they turned themselves in for questioning. Over a week later, nothing says completion for protection like casualty strolling into the police department. Casually strolling into the police department after committing multiple felonies. And for what reason this is blacked out too. Moving on, it says on February the 1st, Brandon Case was charged with aggravated assault on a $150,000 bond, and Gregory Case was charged with conspiracy on a $75,000 bond. Both men were released on bail after just one night in jail. Brookhaven PD made it clear whose side they were on when they forced a local NAACP chapter to cancel their press conference by blocking the roads with squad cars. Attorney Carlos E. Moore is calling for attempted murder and federal hate crime charges, as they should. In the statement it says, because if the roles were reversed and he done this to them, he would have been immediately arrested for attempted murder and gone to jail that same night without bail, may I add. Moore said about his client, he wouldn't have been allowed to wait a week to turn himself in. They probably would have hunted him down and probably shot him. I mean, to be honest. Okay. Police Chief Collins told CNN and the FBI has been in contact to review the case. FedEx sent Gibson back on the same route the next 2 days until he had to take unpaid leave due to PTSD. Wow. They do have a press conference, which I'm going to try to link in the description. For some reason, it is not showing up. But, however, I'm not surprised about this story. It's 2022 and it's business as usual. What can you basically say? They're very much racist. The mere fact that the token cop, the token cop, suggested that Brookhaven isn't racist is laughable. Given I'm pretty sure there's history, okay, there of many incidences, reported and unreported, of discrimination and racism against people of color. So that's odd, like the man said, to say the least. And given in the state that they were in, which is Mississippi, I believe. Mississippi has a tremendously long history of discrimination, racism, lynchings, hangings, and everything else that you may want to throw about it. The things that they don't want people to know when they talk about critical race theory, the things that they try to keep out of school, to give their children the illusion that, you know, their granddaddy and great great granddaddy and grandmama and them did not participate in things like this. However, to the masses that chooses to acknowledge this, we know what it is. Okay. But again, truly a sad thing. Nobody should be attacked while working. I believe I told a story time once before in Maryland, where I am. I used to work in Savannah Park. That's right before you get to Annapolis. Pretty well to do area, you know, multiple businesses. Um, you know, the tax bracket is pretty decent out there. I'll say that. It's not uncommon to, you know, go outside and see custom cars, old school cars, and high luxury cars ride down the street, so on and so forth. And I was stopped by a cop, even though I had a work uniform on, and they had just came into my job and patronized the job that I was working at. And, you know, they see me on the bus stop getting off of my shift, and they asked me, was I lost? When they clearly just seen me about an hour ago, working at the same job that they always frequent, you know. But, you know, I kind of understand it. It wasn't as severe as, you know, this gentleman's thing, but nevertheless, it did leave me with an uneasy feeling. Being as though that one of the cops was Caucasian and the other one was black. I mean, another story time I'll probably tell later on. Actually, that's how I got let go from that job, because out in that area, they are very much racist. They are very much privileged. They are very much, even if they are married to black people, their privilege supersedes everything of Karens and Kens around the world. And I wound up losing my job because I defended a person that came from Mexico because of the way she spoke, because she was told to go back to her country if she could not speak English properly. And I had one of those days, so I went off, short and sweet. I went off. I cussed him out. I cussed his wife out. I pretty much called him a house ninja, you know. And I told him, you of all people should know what racism looks like. Just because you're married to, you know, this woman does not absolve you of your blackness. But that's just the type of person that I am. So, with that being said, you guys, as always, I want to get the discussion going down in the comments. And I definitely would like to know how you feel and what you think. If you have an issue with the story time I just told, that is a personal problem, because my whole philosophy is you treat people how you want to be treated. And if you're going to act like you have privilege, I'm going to show you that you don't have privilege, like you're just like the rest of us, you know. So, with that being said, I will get back to you guys in the next video.
This is that 444. What you got that 444? Kai said put the cell phone down. What you got a record for? He just wanna beat your ass. Throw you in a 4x4. Or better you 4 feet.